What is up, y'all? This is Bahir, and as you guys have probably seen, if you haven't, definitely check them out. Mark P, his video series of 1999 sucked, and I believe he's doing 2002 sucked as well. While I don't agree with all of 2002, you know, I think between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, you had four great shows in there. Like that's just what I have to say, but I'm gonna do a year that I don't think anyone's done yet, and that's 2003. Now, I don't think 2003 sucked. I just think 2003 is very, very overrated when it comes to people praising the shit out of it. In my opinion, other than WrestleMania, Vengeance, maybe Survivor Series, there wasn't a good pay-per-view at all in 2003, and there were several like horrible ones. Like, picking a bad pay-per-view in 2003, picking the worst pay-per-view of 2003 is no easy task, because it's very hard to do. But I'm going to do two right now. The two very first ones, both were fairly decent shows. They weren't good or great, but they were decent. That's Royal Rumble and No Way Out. So let's get right into it. Royal Rumble 2003. Show kicked off with Brock Lesnar versus Big Show. This match was pretty decent. It was an improvement off the match at Survivor Series. The crowd was pretty damn into it. But the only thing about it is that it was very predictable. The winner was going to advance to the Rumble match. Everyone knew Brock was going to win the Rumble, so it was pretty obvious who was going to win. Like I said, overall decent match for a big man match. Not as good as the match they would have on SmackDown or at Judgment Day later this year, but it was still pretty good. I gave it about 2 stars on the dot. Up next was the tag team title match. It was Lance Storm and William Regal versus the Dudley Boyz. Again, this was okay. I expected a lot more with a match with Lance Storm and Regal that went 10 minutes, but I thought it was pretty boring throughout the match. I didn't really get sucked into it till near the end, but Dudley's got another title win here, and it was decent. I give it about 2 1/4, maybe 2.5 stars, like in between there somewhere, but still nothing you have to go out of your way to see. So yeah. Up next was Dawn Marie versus Tori Wilson. This was horrid. This was very, very, very bad. And to anyone who says the WWE used to have amazing women's wrestling, yes, it did on Raw with Victoria and Trish and Lita, but on SmackDown it was the shit. It was so bad. The shits. It was horrible. It was freaking horrible, and this match shows why. And the storyline with this match with Al Wilson and Dawn Marie, in my opinion, that should have won worst storyline of 2002 instead of Katie Vick, because at least Katie Vick was funny when you're watching it, but this was just stupid, and the match was really bad in my eyes. I give it a dud. And just when you think you can't get any worse than that match, we get Triple H versus Scott Steiner, one of the worst world title matches ever. And I'm a fan of Triple H. I always have been, always will be. Even if I know he is a politicker, I've always loved Triple H. I think he's awesome. But this match was horrid. Now, Steiner, ever since mid to late 90s, he's been not so good. But this shows why he should have never stepped back in the ring after WCW closed. He was terrible in this match. So many, I couldn't even count the botches, the slip-ups. The crowd was not into it whatsoever. They were not into Steiner as even a serious contender for the belt whatsoever. And it was very sloppy, very horribly put together. And like I already said, one of the worst world title matches ever, possibly. And I give this match, I'm going to go with a dud as well, since this was freaking almost 20 minutes of unbearable torture watching this match. And right from one of the worst title matches ever, we get one of the best. It is Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. Freaking amazing. The best match that these two ever had, although that is saying a lot, since these two had many classics. And this match was 20 minutes of non-stop wrestling, and that's what made it so awesome. Just non-stop wrestling from bell to bell, just awesomeness. And I can't really say much more about this match. It's already been said. I give it 4 3/4 stars. Only reason it doesn't get 5 is because there was a rest hold in the middle. I think it was a headlock or him, and it went on for a little longer than it should have. But other than that, the crowd was way into it. The story was awesome. It didn't need some stupid kind of build-up. It just built up as two of the best going at it, and just turned out to be an awesome match, like we all expected it to be. So 4 3/4 stars, and my pick for maybe not. Yeah, you know what? I'll go full match of the year of 2003. I might have to check out a few more Japan matches, a few more ROH matches, but I think that is my call for match of the year in 2003. Amazing. And then up next, final match of the night, the Royal Rumble match. It was good. It was a good Rumble match. Nothing really eventful happened. I didn't like the start with Jericho and Michaels, where basically Michaels looked pathetic. After Edge and Ray came out, it did pick up a little bit, but then it sort of had a slow middle. When RVD came out, it picked up again, but then it got slower again. It was basically an on and off Rumble. The ending was very predictable. The Undertaker returning was cool, and he got a great reaction, but everyone going into it knew that Brock was going to win. So I give it about 3 1/4-ish. You know, it was good, but it wasn't great. So that's my review for Royal Rumble. I give the whole show, I'll go with 6.5. It was okay. It was pretty decent. Up next was No Way Out. This show was overall decent as well. Let's get right into it. Night kicked off with Chris Jericho versus Jeff Hardy. This would be Jeff Hardy's last appearance on pay-per-view until Unforgiven 2006, for those of you keeping score. This was a damn good match. One of the only good matches of the night, actually. And it was a really good match to kick off the show. And to think it would have been Test versus Jericho had Test not... I think he was injured or something like that, but... Or, not sure not. This was a damn good match. A lot of counters, a lot of fast-paced stuff. A little slow in the middle, but that's okay. But still, all in all, a really good match. I give it 3.5. HBK coming out afterwards and getting booed. Shitty Montreal crowd, you expect that. So yeah, 3.5 stars. Good way to kick off the show. Up next was the tag team title match. It was Lance Storm and Regal versus Kane and RVD. Decent match. Could have been a lot better. Like, with these 4 guys, you expect something good. It wasn't even good. In my eyes, it was a little boring, actually. It was 10 minutes long. Seemed a little too long, and that's sad, saying it's these guys. But anyway, 2 1/4 stars. It was okay. It wasn't anything good, but it was okay. Up next was Matt Hardy versus Billy Kidman for the Cruiserweight title. This was a good match. Thought Matt Hardy dominated a little too much of it, but I did like the storyline going into it where he was trying to lose like that last pound to qualify. I thought that was really funny. Fast-paced match, very good. It went about 10 minutes. I think it actually could have gone a little bit longer than that, but all in all, good match. 3 1/4 stars. Up next was The Undertaker versus The Big Show. In my eye, this is the match that should have happened at WrestleMania instead of that crappy handicap match, but it was Undertaker and Big Show. This was downright decent, better than I thought it was going to be. Went on a bit too long and did drag on in the middle a little bit, but it was still decent for these 2 guys. They would go on to top it at No Mercy 08 and Cyber Sunday 08, but this was still pretty good. I give it 2 1/2 stars. I thought it was that good. Up next, it was Brock Lesnar and Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle, Charlie Haas, and Shelton Benjamin. Edge was supposed to be in this match, but he got taken out, which was his neck injury where he was out for a year. This was the best match of the night. This was great back and forth stuff here. The end, I was surprised that they let Benoit get the win of the match. I thought they would have Brock dominate and get the win there. But, yep, Benoit got the win after he made Shelton Benjamin, I believe, tap out. And this was all in all very good, very well-paced 3-on-2 tag match. So I give it about 3 3/4 stars. Very good. And then up next we have Triple H versus Scott Steiner, and I just have to point this out. Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, one of the best world title matches in the history of the company, happened at Royal Rumble. Triple H and Scott Steiner, one of the worst title matches, yet Triple H and Steiner get the pay-per-view rematch, while Benoit and Angle's rematch gets pushed back to SmackDown. And they have a great match, an amazing match on SmackDown, but I didn't get that at all. So that should have been on a pay-per-view rematch, in my opinion. Okay, Triple H, Scott Steiner. Put it simple, this was worse than the Rumble match. This was freaking horrible. And that's all I'm going to get into it. It deserves no other time of day. It was freaking horrible. An overbooked mess. I'm going to give this negative a star. I hate rating negative stars, but this was that bad. Then there was the return of Austin, Rock, and Hogan to the company. Austin versus Bischoff. Not a good match. A dud match, but still very entertaining to see him back. Rock and Hogan II, another dud match since it made no sense. And, well, no, I won't give it a dud. I'll give it like a star maybe. But it was, compared to the first one, it was really bad. Hardly anything eventful happened in the match, and it was only used to set up Vince and Hogan at Mania. Nothing else. So, yeah. Overall, the pay-per-view gets about a 6 out of 10, and that's about as high as I can go.